Hello friends, today I have 6 Decoupage Easter Spring DIYs with napkins, scrapbook paper, music sheet lyrics. They're great. I'm having a hard time picking favorites, but these are 2 of my favorites. Love the little bunny and the navy, love navy, and this one, this little tray. Okay. Let's get crafting. Okay, I got these adorable little napkins from the Crafty Cruise Getaway Napkin Exchange. And I got this little wooden tray from Amazon in a nestled bundle for pretty cheap. I think they're in my Amazon storefront. So I chose some paint colors that I thought matched with the napkins and painted the tray in aviary. I believe it was aviary, no farm girl, fancy farm girl. And I'm just showing you the satisfaction of when you use painter's tape and peel it off, how nice and crisp those lines are. Then I reapplied the painter's tape to the green and used vintage linen on the bottom, inside bottom of the tray. Now I'm just going to take a little sanding block and I'm just going to sand the edges of that green a little bit on the edges and the sides and the bottom and the back and just all around it. Just a little bit to distress it. I don't want a whole lot of distressing, but just a little bit. This is the smallest of the nestled trays that I purchased. Now, I took some rice paper and put it through my printer with even the, it's just a saying from Peter Rabbit, and I forget what it says. You can read it there. Even the smallest one can change the world. And I'm just going to trim it down to fit inside this little napkin. I trimmed the napkins down as close to the image as I possibly could. The rabbits I could get down really close. Those rabbits were the cutest little napkins, and there were 4 of those little rabbits per napkin. So I was able to just use 2 of them. Now I'm going to use some Mod Podge to attach the little wreath. Oh my gosh, that little laurel wreath with those, it just matches those rabbits so beautiful. And the same gal brought both of these napkins. I believe it was Angie that brought these napkins, and they were just so precious. So I'm going to apply a thin coat of Mod Podge on the back of the rabbits and the wreath and rice paper. So and then I'm going to let it dry completely. Well, that one was still wet, but I'm putting it over there to dry, and I'm going to do both rabbits and the wreath with the saying in the middle on the back side. You can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to lay it out how I want it because they're completely dry inside the tray. Look how adorable. And I didn't really measure anything. I just eyeballed it, and it turns out fine. And I'm going to use my little heat press. You can use an iron. Just don't use any steam, and that will reactivate that Mod Podge, and it gives you a flawless, no wrinkle finish, and it is beautiful. And I always seal it with clear DIY wax, so that way I don't get any extra wrinkles. And I'm just going to do that all the way across until I get all of it adhered down. And it's such a beautiful finish. I am in love with this little tray. Now, I'm not going to use it to serve anything or use it as a tray. I'm using it as a decor piece. So I decided it needed a little something more. And you know I'm not really big on greenery and florals, but I decided to make a tiny little bow with some of my Sam's Club ribbon and my bow dabra that my friend Brandy from Making It My Own DIYs got me. If you don't watch her channel, you need to go check her out. And then just some little pieces of greenery, some little sprigs that I had in my stash. I'm just going to glue a couple pieces of those down, glue the bow in the middle, glue a couple more little pieces of sprigs of that greenery amongst the bow, and this one will be done. Let me know what you think about this little precious tray. I absolutely love it. I hope that you like it, and yeah, I think it's just adorable. Oh, one more thing. I have these tiny little half beads I purchased for some project, and so I have a bunch of them left, and I thought I would just glue one right in the middle instead of a flower. I usually will put a little flower in the middle, but I thought I'm just going to put one of these natural little beads right in the middle of that bow. Oh, not done yet. We're going to white wax a little around the edges, just to give it a little more dimension, distressing, whatever. The white wax. I love the white wax. And then I did do clear wax. I gave the whole thing a clear wax seal. I didn't show that on camera. So here's our final piece, and I am absolutely loving it. Okay, next up, we're going to use some aviary paint, this other little wooden tray, and another napkin that I got from the Crafty Cruise Getaway Napkin Exchange. I'm also going to use some faded burlap. Okay, so I painted the entire little wooden tray with the aviary, and now I'm going to paint the inside bottom of this tray with the faded burlap. Now, I'm not being as pedantic about this, so I didn't tape it off, because I'm going to Mod Podge that napkin over this faded burlap. But because when you take the plies of napkin apart, okay, it's all dry, then the napkins become pretty see-through, transparent. So you can kind of see through them. So I wanted to have a background that was going to look good. So I'm putting a pretty thick coat of Mod Podge. You can see it's completely dry. I'm showing you that I took the two plies apart. You can see how thin that napkin is. You would have been able to see that green through there. So I picked a color that I thought would look good in the background. So same procedure that I do with all the iron-on method for decoupaging is using the iron. I love this method. I have been seeing my friend Sammy using the saran wrap method, with using the saran wrap. I have tried that in the past, and I may give that a try again, but I just love this flawless method. Now, I'm giving the entire project a coat of DIY clear wax. I'm going to use my awesome makeup brush, and then to get in the little corners that it won't reach in, I'm just going to use a little piece of an old t-shirt that I cut up. Now, I'm going to use a little bit of dark wax on just the edges and the corners, and a little bit here and there. I used the clear wax first because I didn't want the dark wax to be so dark. So the clear wax helps to make the dark wax not quite as dark. Now, I didn't do the clear on the bottom first, so you can see that it's a little bit darker. I'm just using what was left over on the brush on the bottom. Now that was complete. That one's complete. But I found these little carrots in my stash. They do not match that tray at all. So I'm not really styling them with the tray. But I am going to make them. These are not a decoupage project, but they were cute, and so we're going to make them. So I'm just taking some of that ribbon that I got from Sam's Club and just going to cut. I'm making 2 carrots, so I cut 2 pieces. Then I had this little burlap ribbon that somebody gifted me. And I'm going to dovetail the ends of all my little ribbon pieces. And then I'm just going to pinch it in the middle and tie a piece of little jute twine around the middle to make a simple little, just straight bow. There's no loops to it or anything. It's just a little straight bow. And then I'm going to glue that to the top of that carrot. And then it had a little loop, like it was an ornament or something. And I'm going to cut that at the base of the carrot, where the base of the carrot is. Now I'm going to use my finger protectors because nobody likes a hot glue burn. Okay, so I cut that. I've learned this little trick. I love to use tape on the end of my strings, but I also like to use a little Type Bond Quick and Thick or some tacky glue and twist it on the end of that twine, and so then you don't have the extra bulk of the tape on there. Okay, I'm seeing how many beads I need, and then I'm going to take some dark wax, and I'm just going to rub it on there, and then I'm going to rub it in the t-shirt, and it gets them a little bit dark, but then I kind of decided that all of them weren't as dark as I wanted, so I went ahead and just rubbed them a little bit more with the brush just to give them a little bit of color. And then and then I just strung them on and tied a knot on the end just to make a little beaded something hanging. And then on the other one, I left them natural, and then I think I did a couple small beads and a little bit larger bead. Then I'm just going to unloose those ends and kind of fray it a little bit. I like that look. Okay, so you can see I did a little pattern on the natural beads. So here's this little tray. I think it turned out beautiful. That's a beautiful napkin. And then here are our carrots. You can see how the natural beads, I did a little pattern, too small, a big one, too small. Let me know what you think about these carrots. Would you decorate with these? I want to say they came from Dollar Tree. Hello, I hope you're enjoying the Decoupage DIYs. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Kendra. You're watching Late Night Creations. Please go ahead and make sure you're subscribed. We're getting really close to that 10,000 subscribers, and I'm really getting anxious about doing the giveaway. So like, subscribe, comment, all the good fun things, and let's get back to crafting. Okay, we have this pretty little blue napkin, a little mini cutting board, a little bunny, and some hay sailor and some beadboard. Now we're going to start by sanding this little cutting board a little bit. This is from my mini cutting board stash that I've had from Aldi. We're going to paint the sides and the top of this, or the back of this, in the hay sailor. I'm going to seal it good with Big Top by DIY. And then we're going to cut our napkin down to size. This is a beautiful napkin that my friend Myra from Farm Fresh Design 59 sent to me in a big gift that she sent me, a bunch of goodies. But this was one of the goodies in there, and I think it's beautiful. Blue is my favorite color, and this I love navy, and I love every shade of blue. So I'm peeling it apart, and I'm going to iron it, because you know how sometimes those napkins have those annoying little divots on the bottom of them. Yeah, so anyway. So, yeah, I'm not real sure I painted this with beadboard. I think I just left it gray, because even though you can see through this, the gray looked fine behind it. So once that Mod Podge was completely dry, we're going to iron on our napkin. And then I'm going to take a file and I'm going to file it off. Now, this file was kind of rough with my delicate little napkin, and so it left the edge a little bit rough. So I took a finer, it was kind of like a buffing file, and I just kind of smoothed it. It wasn't rough enough to actually cut the paper, so I just used it to kind of buff it and smooth it out. Now I'm going to take that beautiful white DIY white wax, and go around the edges on the blue a little bit. And then I did just seal the napkin with the white wax as well, because you couldn't really see the white on top of that. And then I gave it all a clear coat to seal the paint in. And this is maybe my very favorite one in this video. So I had just a little scrap of this navy ribbon. I made a cute little bow. And then this little bunny was in a pack of bunnies from Dollar Tree, and I just had it in my stash, you know, because I never need the whole pack. So just use one and then save the rest for another day. Well, it's another day, so we're going to use it. And then I decided I wanted to white wax him a little bit so that he was not quite so wood grain looking. And this is it. We're just going to glue everything down. And I think it turned out so cute. I love this. I love that first tray, and I love this one. Okay, I'm going to poke a hole through there so we can have our little hole so we can put a little hanger on it. I'm not going to hang it. It will be a little shelf sitter, but it just looks cute to have the little hanger. So I'm trying to decide if I want the blue twine or if I want the cream twine. And I choose the cream because I didn't want that blue was too close to the blue, and then I don't know, I just chose it. Like I say in every video, there's no rhyme or reason to why I do most of the things that I do. So I'm just going to pull that through, tie a little knot, and this one is done, I think. Let's see if I do something else. I think that's it. Cut it however long you want it, and there it is. You can just do the simplest little things and make something beautiful. One of my videos would not be complete without a scrap wood project. So I have these pieces of scrap wood that I received as they were leftovers from a man who makes rocking chairs. And so I took these pieces, I cut off the ends, as you see here. I'm showing you that I cut the ends off, and then I'm going to use these two side pieces as parts to make a cross. And then that piece is going to be the base. We're going to use that in just a little bit. Now, I sanded those edges because it's real thin there. It comes down thin to a point, and it was a little bit kind of rough. So I just took my little sanding block, and I just sanded like so. Really just kept sanding and sanding until it made little rounded corners, and it sanded down that really thin part until it was smooth. Now I'm measuring 3 inches down so that I get my little cross even. And then I make a line across there, and then I make a line across the bottom so that, yeah, I get it even. Now I'm going to take my drill, and I'm going to do the little method where I make holes and use little dowel sticks. So I'm going to put a hole there and a hole there and a hole here and a hole here. So we're going to see, there's the holes. We're going to use our little, well, I'm using some skewers. I get these at Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to measure where I need to cut it. And I'm going to use my miter shears because you can use scissors, but you're going to have to really work at it to get the scissors to cut that, unless you have some better scissors than I do. You can cut and cut. You have to kind of twist it and cut and twist it and cut. It'll work. You just have to work at it. You also can use, if you have some needle nose pliers or some wire cutters or floral snips, you can use those. I just love my miter shears. So I'm going to cut 2 of those for these, because this is going to make it more stable. If you just hot glue that or wood glue that down, it's probably not going to hold very good. So we're going to stick those in there. I'm going to put a little pencil mark on each end of these dowel sticks. I'm sure there's a million ways to do this. This is just how I do it. I'm going to line that up. I'm going to wiggle it a little bit. That's where I need to drill my holes, because those holes on that side are not really that even. So I'm going to drill the holes, and then I can glue these pieces together with some Titebond Quick and Thick, and it works beautiful. It dries really fast, thus the name being quick. So I'm going to squeeze some out here, and that's not near enough, but that's what we're going to start with. I'm going to dip the little dowel in there. I'm calling them dowels, they're skewers. And then I'm going to poke it down in there and do another one. And yeah, get enough on there. Come on. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to take a little spatula. Oh, well, I decided that wasn't enough. Okay, here we go. Well, let's get some more. Okay, maybe that's enough. Oh, I did the other side. Or maybe I didn't do the other side. Okay, we're gonna put the crossbars on now. Okay, I want to put some. I'm making sure it's gonna fit. I guess I don't know what I'm doing, guys. So I'm going to smear some glue on there with a spatula. There you go. And see how that fits good? Okay, all done. Now I'm going to do the bottom. Same song, second verse, same as the first. You got it. That's what we're doing. I'll put a little glue on there. Now I did have to go back and put a little, there we go, putting a little extra glue because it has to stand up. I normally would clamp this down, but I didn't have any clamps long enough for this project because it's a pretty big cross. Okay, now we're taking Sandy Blonde and Weathered Wood by none other but DIY. I get all my DIY products, my IOD products, Saltwash, all those good things that I love to play with. I get those from Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs. You can go to her website, www.unicorndustdesigns.com, and find all of those wonderful products. Now, I had that little tag you saw me paint. I get those in a bundle of a bunch of them off Amazon, and they're probably in my Amazon store. If not, you can just search them up. And we use them in my Sunday school class a lot, so I had that one left over. And now I'm just painting some of this Sandy Blonde on here, and you saw me squirt a little water, and I'm wiping it away with a wet wipe. I don't really want full coverage. And so I was thinking I was going to dry brush this on while it was still a little bit wet, and then I realized I really didn't like that look too much. So I end up thinking I'm going to wipe some of it back. Well, that didn't work very good either. I ended up kind of drying it a little bit, or letting it dry a little bit, I think. Or maybe I just kept going. Yeah, I just kept messing with it. Sometimes I like to leave this footage in so you can see that, you know, I mess up too. So I used weathered wood, and I put some on, and then I used a baby wipe to smear it and spread it around. Okay, here's back to our tag. Here's my rice paper. I ordered this on Amazon, and I printed off the sheet music to the Old Rugged Cross. Now I'm going to use Mod Podge, my same decoupage. I'm not giving y'all any new techniques for decoupage because this is my favorite. So I'm going to line this up. I'm going to fold the top over, and I'm going to use that top line of the music to line it up even with the top line of the tag. Then I'm going to iron it on and file it off. No, I'm not going to file it off. This is different. I'm going to use an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to trim it really nice around the edges because I wasn't sure how this rice paper would file because it has a weird texture to it because it's got all those little fibers in it. But it's really pretty, and it goes through my printer really nice. Now I'm going to take this dark wax, and oops, I got a little much. Oh well, it's okay. We wait till you see how this turns out. It turns out beautiful. I think I'm going to use a little clear wax to try to fix it, and yeah, it didn't. It just made it worse. So I just, you know, we just move on. So I just really want it to be around the edges, and then I want it to kind of feather it in so that it just looks like an old piece of sheet music. So I'm kind of doing it around the edges, and now I'm not adding any more wax to my brush. I'm just kind of using what's left in there. And then now you can see I'm just kind of feathering it in. Okay, what am I doing here? I'm tying a knot in the end of my rope. Tie a knot in the end of your rope and hang on, folks. And then I'm going to put it around the cross because I want to hang it around the cross like so. And then I'm seeing how long it needs to be. And then I'm going to see that little dab of glue I have over there. Yeah, I left that so I could twist that. This is a little bit thicker jute twine. This is some jute twine. I don't know. People are giving me their leftover junk all the time, and it's treasures to me. They think it's junk and trash, and I think it's treasures. It was just a little piece of something I had that was in something somebody gave me. So I love the way that that hangs around there. Okay, now back to the cross. We're going to take some dark wax and seal our project. I'm going to seal it with the dark wax. Love the way this is turning out. Now, I do go back with a stamp. I'm about to do a stamp on here. And I never even realized until I was editing this that I probably should have done the stamp before I waxed it. But it actually turned out fine. Wait till you see it. It turns out actually really good. So I'm putting this dark wax all over it, sealing it up, front and back, the bottom. I think that dark wax and that sandy blonde look so good together. That's one of my favorite combinations. Okay, now this is one of the IOD stamps. I think it's called Barn Planks or something similar to that. And I'm just using the black ink, the IOD black ink. And I'm just going to lay it down on there and just press it gently. Oh my gosh, look how pretty that looks. So the guy that gave me this wood, I went back and showed him a picture of this. And he's like, how did you burn that in that wood? And I said, it's not burned. And he said, no, I mean, how'd you get that wood grain burned in there? I said, it's not, it's a stamp. He couldn't get over how good that looked on there. And so I was kind of proud of it. But it does look really good. Now I'm cleaning up my mess on my little silicone mat. I love this silicone mat. My friend Myra over at 59 Farm Fresh Design 59, she also has one of these mats. Hers is a beautiful blue. And she uses it to craft with. And I saw it on her channel and I've said, I have to have one. Where did you get that? She said, Amazon, they're cheap. You got to go get you one. Guess what? I did. I went and got me one. I couldn't craft without it. And it's so easy to clean. And now I'm just going to take my sanding block and just, etch it up. Distress it out a little bit. Just a little bit. I think I did take that clear wax and wax over this again. I just didn't get that on camera. I have these little bitty pieces of white, bits and pieces of floral. I'm going to just glue those down. I'm making a little finger bow out of some twine. And it's real simple. I do have a video to do tassels and finger bows. I'll link that in the description box below if you're looking for a slowed down version. That video's in real time. And I'm just going to glue those little pieces to the top of that little sign. And then I'm going to glue the little bow down. And then I decided that this cross needed something at the bottom. I couldn't decide if it needed greenery. I didn't really like that. So I just put some burlap. I just kind of wrapped some burlap around the bottom. Because, it's kind of rustic. And then I decided if you wanted, you could lay some little greeneries in the bottom. If I had a lily, because, Jesus was the lily of the valley, our bright and morning star. I would have put some lilies in there. I think that would be really pretty if you had a lily to lay down in there. I don't really like to make the cross look really pretty. I kind of struggle with that because the cross represents the pain that Jesus suffered for us. And so I really like to keep it kind of rugged and true to what it is. And for Easter, the cross Easter's really not about the cross. It's about the empty tomb and that Jesus is alive. So the old rugged cross does stand for his suffering, but his resurrection. Okay, now this one, I love to make a little garland or a little banner. So this could be either one. This is some more of that scrap wood from the rocking chair donator and some of this burlap scrapbook paper. So it's kind of like a little cardboard backing on this burlap. I'm just going to trace out the little pieces to fit. And I had this great idea that I would Mod Podge these on. And I would use the iron-on method. Well, guess what? You're going to see. It didn't work. This is so thick that I guess the heat didn't really go through. And I used a lot of pressure and left it on there for a long time. but it just didn't really work. So I got them all cut out, and I put, you know, quite a bit amount of Mod Podge on there. I let them dry, and I tried to iron it on there. I can see it's all dry. Okay, come on, Kendra. What are you doing? I've got to make sure I'm getting in the right direction, I guess. I put some pressure on there. I pressed down. I held it for a little while, and yeah, it didn't work. So I got out the Quick Bond. The Tight Bond, the Quick Bond. It is a Quick Bond. The Tight Bond, quick and thick. And so this is not truly a decoupage. It's a decoupage fail. So then I'm going to use the letterpress stamps. And I lost my A on here, y'all. I looked for that and looked for that. I can't find it anywhere. But luckily, I didn't need it for this project. And I'm going to use weathered wood paint with a little dabber. And I'm going to just dab the paint on and use my tweezers to clean up my boo-boos. I kind of got the hang of it after a little while, and it was easier. And I just have this little clear acrylic block that someone gave me in a box of goodies. And just stamp this. I put he is on one, and then we're going to spell out the word risen on all the rest of them. So I'm showing you that I'm just using these. These are some other stamps by IOD. And so here we go. Look how pretty these are. So I'm going to take the dark wax, and I'm going to just wax around the edges to, you know, make it look a little old and worn, because that's the look we're going for. If you don't like that look, by all means, don't do it. But I like that look. You know I do, because that's what's in all my videos. Okay, so we're going to make a little banner. So when I get all this taken care of in 20 time fast video, I wish I could really work that fast. Don't you wish we could just work that fast? Boy, we could get projects knocked out in no time. I don't know what I'd do with all those projects that got knocked out in no time, but hey, we could do it. Then I'm going to take my drill, and I'm going to drill some holes across the top of these so that we can make a banner. And I use that little block of wood so I can drill all the way through and not drill into my table. Then I'm going to take the scissors, and I'm just going to trim off the little frayed edges that it creates. And I'm going to use my handy dandy little tabletop vacuum to suck up all the little parts that got drilled out. And then here's what they look like. Now I've got some beads. I've got some very large beads, and I had just enough to put one in between. And then I have some regular large beads. Oop, one got away from me. Get back over here, little guy. And here I'm going to twist the end. That's that roll of the bigger jute twine I was telling you about that somebody gifted me. And so I'm going to do a large bead, an extra large bead, a large bead in between each one. Well, on the end and then in between each one. Well, you can see what I'm doing. And I did take the, I had like some tweezers or something, and I was kind of poking the holes, making it easier to get that twine through there. So yeah, I did this for all of them. Makes a very cute little, I kind of used it as like a little garland or a little banner. I'm going to put it on my piano. I didn't stage it on my piano when I took pictures because the lighting in there is terrible for pictures. I wish it were better on my piano, because I do decorate a lot on my piano seasonally. So I'm just going to tie a knot in each end, and I'm not going to put a tassel or anything on it. I'm just going to tie a knot on each end, and this one is done. So let me know what you think about this one, if you like this one. And let me know which one of these is your favorite today. Okay, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know which was your favorite in the comments below. But most of all, remember to be still and know that He is God.